everybody. Welcome to another edition of our Monday morning webinar where I feel like I'm a lone wolf. I'm in this big giant studio all by myself, but Nick's back. Nick's back working the board. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Mikey. Glad to be here.
Okay, well, I think we're just going to have to do a little talk show this morning because nobody's here right now. But anyway, so let's moving right along, a little sneak peek at what we got coming up today. Mr. Menard, he's on vacation today, so we're not going to have a lot to talk about the numbers, but really all you need to know is buy low, sell high. That's everything you need to know about the numbers, but more importantly about the numbers, we are still, I believe, under 14,000 units available on ARMlist. I don't know how much lower that we can go, but so you got to figure out, put together your plan on how you are going to market that to buyers and sellers. What are the advantages and disadvantages? And today, Nick and I, we're going to talk about your First Amendment rights. Here's the question as a realtor. Do you have First Amendment rights? Is that just a myth? Is that just pie in the sky? Not exactly sure, but we're going to delve into it because a lot of you, if the commissioner or any other governmental agency decides to start laying down the hammer, some of us are going to get in trouble for some of the things that we are posting on social media. Our designated broker, the Hoff's, going to stop by for a little broker talk. And, of course, don't do that with Bob. I'm hoping that we will get to all of these, but we're not 100% sure. Okay, so as always, if you got any questions, comments, you'd like any topics that you would like discussed, please feel free to email us at webinar@westusa.com. And as always, copies of the slides will be uploaded to the dashboard later on this afternoon, or you can just email us at webinar@westusa.com, and we will. All right, here's Mick. Mick, you got to get in here, buddy, because you're just in time, pal. Okay, so Todd's not with us today. God rest his soul. Anyway, so moving right along. And as we mentioned, we are under 14,000 units, so it's just something that we need to be aware of and we need to pay attention to. All right, Mick. Well, that's you. That's Matt. There's you.
There we go.
Okay. So what's going on in the market? Give us a little update on rates.
Well, rates are improving, right? So we're in good shape here. Rates have gotten better over the last week. I've been out for the last 10 days, but Matt did a good job of rallying the bond market for me.
Yeah, he did. He did fantastic. So I've heard rumors that we might be expecting another little dip in rates coming up. You hearing the same rumors?
That's the rumor, right? My crystal ball's a little cloudy, but other than that,
I want a guarantee from you right now, money back guarantee.
You're okay. Rates are going to continue to improve.
All right, fantastic. All right, so let's talk about the myth of housing affordability crisis. Interesting topic.
Well, bottom line is you can afford more of a house today than you could. I mean, a lot of people are complaining that home prices are getting too high. They're concerned about a recession. But the bottom line is when we look at a couple of the charts that we provided you today, hopefully for your social media campaign, if you look at the next slide, you'll see that housing affordability, as homes are more affordable today than at any time for about 10 years.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And if you look there, the only time it was really more affordable was during the distressed time. You know, when we had those times where everything was a foreclosure or short sale. Now is the time to buy. I mean, rates are better, are good, expecting to get better, and home prices, although we see some appreciation, maybe aren't quite appreciating as quickly as we have over the last year.
Well, homes may have been more affordable during the recession, during the tough times, but many of those houses didn't come with cabinets, kitchen islands, copper plumbing, or anything.
Pipes. Right?
Everything was stripped out of those.
Exactly. So we're in good shape. And so we talk about the historic normals of what percentage of your income is your mortgage payment. And in the past, it's been 21%, and now you can see as of second quarter this year, it's 16%. And so, despite house prices going up over $12,000, payments are actually over $100 a month less than what they've been over the last year.
That's amazing. So you're getting more house and paying less.
Get more house, pay less. How could you go wrong?
I don't know if you can.
I don't know if you can either. And so really, when you look at the bottom line is you have about 150% greater today than it was in January of 2000. It's easier to buy a house based upon current income levels than it was over the past about 10 years.
All right, so we need to figure out. I mean, I think this is fantastic social media material. Maybe we can put some of this stuff in some co-branded materials.
Absolutely can. Absolutely can.
And how would people reach you on that?
If you just go to the next slide, we should have some more information.
Nope.
Oh,
let's talk
First of all,
burgers.
let's talk about burgers. National Cheeseburger Day is coming up. Love to have you guys come out to the office. We're gonna have a food truck there. We're gonna give you the burger. We're gonna give you a drink, and we're gonna give you an event T-shirt, all for $15.
Okay, so let's pull back a little bit here. We're a little roughshotting over some of the important details here. First of all, it's not just a food truck. I mean, this is legit. This is Aioli Burger. So with the America's Burger Club, we've been to Aioli Burger.
Right.
We travel around each month and go to some of the premier burger stops in the valley. Aioli is one of them. I mean,
They're my favorite stop so far.
Yeah, they win awards and so forth. So they're going to come. So for $15, you're going to get a burger, you're going to get a drink, you're going to get a T-shirt. This will also be our September America's Burger Club. So in lieu of us going someplace, we're going to come down and hang out with the group from Fairway. So how do we get signed up for this?
You just go to the website, bookstandbaker.com/cheeseburger.
Oh,
You can buy
fantastic.
a event ticket right there. It's going to be fun too. If you've never been to our office before, Mike, I know you have been. We got a pool table, we got foosball, we got Connect Four, we got usually rock and roll or country music going on. Might be a little early, but the fridge is always stocked full of beer as well.
Ooh, easy. Okay, I'm going to be there at about 10.
I was only half listening, but I just want to make sure that we spelled this out. September 18th is National Cheeseburger Day. Did we
Yes.
say that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. All right. So
That's what it says on the flyer too.
yeah, so we'll see you on Wednesday, 18th, and so we'll have a bunch of different ways for you to sign up and get information. Why don't you tell us about the Bookspan Baker team difference?
Yeah, I think over this weekend it came to light again. 24/7 access to pre-qualification forms. The agents love that because we issue a pre-qualification for the maximum that your buyer will qualify for. But when you're ready to make an offer, you simply go online, adjust your pre-qual to match your offer. That way, if you get into a negotiated situation and it's Sunday night at 6 or 7 o'clock and you can't find me or whoever you need to find, you just go online and change the number to match what your new offer is.
All right, so real quickly, let's talk about National Cheeseburger Day again. That's coming up with. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate it, Mick, as always, and apologize for throwing you in the mix.
Yeah, no
real
worries.
quick.
We're good.
All right, anything else you got to say about the market?
No, I think it's looking good, and I think when the Fed meets again here in about another month, we'll get an idea of what they're going to do. But usually the bond market tries to predict what the Fed's going to do. So keep an eye on what's happening with the trade wars. I think that's going to be a good indication. Keep an eye on what's happening with the stock market, and you'll find that I think the bonds will be probably having opposite news of what the stock is typically.
All right, appreciate it, Mick.
Thank you,
As
guys.
always, thanks for stopping by. All right, we're going to move on to our three-pack, and we do have the Hoff in the studio, and then we got Nick here. So I figured let's have a three-way conversation about this. My kids like to tell me they're at that age when they're school, they go to a private school, and the private school says they can't wear this, they can't do this, and my kids are at the age of going, well, what about my First Amendment rights? Well, I think that's a little bit of a myth. You don't always have First Amendment rights everywhere and in every situation. I had to explain that to my kids. We're paying for your education. Mom and Dad trump your First Amendment rights, and we allow your school to trump your First Amendment rights because it is really it's a socialistic platform in our house. That's how we run our house. We are communists in our house. But anyways, so we give up our rights when we become a realtor, Hoff. Protected classes are protected classes, and we understand that, and it's ingrained in us when we're taking our CE classes or we're doing our pre-licensing classes. I mean, we spend a lot of time understanding what protected classes mean, and when we're advertising or we're taking phone calls and we're showing homes, we have to be very, very careful. However, sometimes on social media, we lose sight that protected classes are still protected classes, and what you say, what you write, what you post on social media can get you in some hot water.
We get notifications all the time from clients and consumers across the U.S. that are screenshotting what realtors are saying in blogs and groups and forums. So you do have to make sure that you're very careful about what you are talking about, because if you say something that could be construed as negative towards a protected class, you could get in trouble.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, let's talk first about First Amendment rights, right? Your right for free speech is what we all have. So as a realtor, when you join NAR and AAR, you don't actually give up that right to do it, but now you have to be extra careful about what you say on social media, what you do, how you react about different things. Or, you know, in one instance I look at is how you have tattoos on your body. Right, so there's actually a legal case going on where an agent had swastikas on his body and took his shirt off in a public arena. So
hopefully not when he was showing homes.
Probably not, but it was actually at a ball game. But as realtors, when we're out there, you can have your own opinions, and you know, if Mike wants to run his house the way he wants to run his house, he's allowed to do that, right? But it's more in the public sense when you're a realtor and you signed up with NAR. You signed up to be part of the code of ethics. I'll talk about a couple of those codes that really go into this area here, but you signed up to be, you know, over and above everyone else out there. And that's what this is about, right? Our code of ethics, how we conduct ourselves with people that are out there. And I understand I get kickback every once in a while from people like, you know, well, you know, I still have my opinions. I want to be able to talk about them. You know, what if I'm in a private group in Facebook? Well, first of all, Facebook is not private.
No.
I mean, in any way whatsoever, even if you're in a private group. And you could be at a restaurant in a private meeting and the waiter or waitress walks in and you're talking about something. So it's not private. It's really not, right? In Facebook, I get stuff all the time sent to me. Oh, this is a private group, but look what he said about this person here, that they should go back to there or they should do this and that, right? So.
So then it leads to just be careful what you say and who you say it about. Okay, Facebook was not created as a platform for us to share our political views, our religious views. Really, Facebook was created to connect with one another and to keep up with one another and get reacquainted with one another. And it's definitely been hijacked by this this philosophy of, hey, now I'm just going to try to convert everybody to my political views, my religious views. But what you say, even on your personal page, because most of us on our personal page, we say we're a realtor at West USA or we're a realtor here and there. So you're automatically marketing yourself as a realtor. You're letting everybody know who's on your personal page that you're a member of the National Association of Realtors, and you've taken on that realtor designation. Whether it says realtor, doesn't matter whether you say sales agent or whatever you say, you're still a realtor. So it's part of marketing. So what you say on your personal page, even though if it's your personal opinions and your personal views, you're still marketing yourself not only as an agent, but you're marketing yourself as an agent with West USA Realty and a member of the National Association of Realtors. So I say think before you post. And I decided we'd just go ahead and listed what are the protected classes. So stay away from religion, politics, and the protected classes such as race, color, national origin. I think sex is becoming a huge topic right now as far as homosexuality goes and identity.
Understand
gender
a little bit
identity
different here that we have national classifications, and then we have NAR classification, so a little bit different. This one right here, when you listed, sex has to do with male or female in here. What they've added on to NAR is 2 additional classes, which is sexual orientation and gender identity.
Right.
So that is separate than that sex there because you add on. So there's 7, but when you join the board, you have 9 protected classes now that you're out there. And what Mike was bringing up, the point of your Facebook page or your West USA Realty or whatever company or
and your website, your blogs,
everything.
your emails, everything.
But we had a couple cases for Code of Ethics that I worked on where the agent was making comments in all these other groups far away from their page, but they were still logged on to their Facebook. But when you follow it back and then you go to their main page, they have West USA Realty on their main page. And that's the point, is that you're conducting yourself. When you're a realtor, it's 24/7. It's not, business hours. And I hear people, well, it's only if I'm doing business, I need to be careful. No, when you're part of that code, that's your whole way of life moving forward, is that code of ethics.
And I think with social media, it's made the definition of marketing very convoluted. We know traditional marketing. If I'm going to send out a postcard to a neighborhood, or I'm going to field phone calls, we think of that as traditional marketing, and we know that we're supposed to stay away from anything defamatory. But Facebook is marketing.
Sure.
And you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Every single person has a Facebook page. Sorry, Michael, to cut you off. You have to understand that you're building a brand. No matter if you're in business, if you're a secretary, if you're a stay-at-home mother, if a self-employed handyman, you have a brand. Every picture, every comment, every post, that's you. That's who you're building. So your when you take that realtor test and you take that license and you accept responsibility for what you're saying, you're building your brand. Now, your brokerage is going to be behind you, but when you're talking about real estate online, you're going to market yourself. And unless you have some weird anonymous black profile, no picture, whatever, you're not, and people can't trace you back. I guess you could, if you really wanted to, kind of go crazy on social media, but you should be amazed how much time people have. They will hunt you down. It's amazing what people will do on social media, and they screenshot everything. I like Mike's point is think before you post. Yeah. We get this all the time where a realtor will get into a conversation that turns into an argument on social media or blog posts or whatever. You're not going to change that person's mind. I promise you. I know you really want to. You want to make them see the way that you see and feel the way that you feel. You're not going to win. You're just going to end up having two angry people. And if you're a licensed realtor and they're not, and you say something that can be construed as negativity, they will screenshot it and we will hear about it.
And there's actually groups out there that will gang up on you. So if one group hears that you did something, and we had this happen a couple times, hundreds and thousands of people in this one group will start flooding your Facebook page or West USA's page or any other pages out there, because they're going to mass attack you, and we've already experienced that a couple times, and that's no fun because now they're reposting all your stuff. Even if you delete it, they've already screenshotted it, and now they're posting it to everybody else, and now you're kind of
And I would like to add a group into. I think we should consider adding a new protected class, because I feel like in this country there's an attack on ground beef. Like everybody wants to just remove ground beef. There's a university in London. They want to completely get rid of ground beef at the university. So burger lovers need to be a protected class. Can we make that happen, Hoff?
Everybody's got opinions, right?
All right. And hitting the like button. So this is the other thing, is hitting the like button, in my opinion. If somebody posts something defamatory or posts something that could be construed as an attack on a protected class, for me, hitting the like button, and it's so easy to hit the like button, now you're agreeing with another person's opinions. So it's not so much, it's also, what you're posting, but it's also agreeing, or what you're commenting on other people's posts can also get you into hot water. I have very, very strong beliefs in a lot of different areas, whether it's political, religious, and so forth. But if you follow me and you could dig as deep as you want on all my social media platforms, you will never know my opinions on this, because one, I'm a representative of West USA. I'm a representative as a realtor, but you just got to be very, very, very careful.
Mm-hmm. You just think before you post. I don't know if I can keep saying it over and over again.
And read before you hit like.
Well, and it's going through and blindly just clicking on things. People are going to see them. There is no secrecy anymore. Twitter just changed their algorithm. It used to be if you liked or commented on certain tweets, people wouldn't see it. Now everyone sees it. Anyone that you're friends with or following you are going to see those posts. Same thing with Facebook. You just need to be very careful. Like we said, you have your brand. What does your brand want to do? And think about it as a consumer. You follow businesses online. If a business took a side one way or the other on something you were passionate about, would that deter you from using that brand?
And in a lot of respects, yes.
Yeah. It does. So why would you want to do the same thing to your business? Yeah. You're all entrepreneurs. You all are business owners. Be careful what you're doing to alienate people. But also, you don't want to get in trouble. Why even go down that road? Yes, we're passionate. And yes, we're not saying you shouldn't have opinions. But no one on Facebook and social media cares what your opinion is. They want to look at puppies and burgers. That's what we've decided.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So why are we bringing this up right now, right? It's a good question that we're talking about it, is because we know we have a political year coming up and it's going to be pretty heated. Mm-hmm. We've already seen it. We've seen it go back and forth between people. I've seen name calling going on. We've had that discussion. If I start calling another realtor names, is that violating the code of ethics? Yes or no? If I'm doing it back and forth with email with you, then no. Not that I'm promoting that in any way whatsoever, but we've had that happen. But if I do it on a public stage where it's on Facebook, Twitter, anything else, Instagram or whatever, that's a different story, because now everybody can see, what you're typing out there.
And that's why when I call you names, I go into your office and close the door and I just call you names.
You do a good job of that. So.
But I would say also I think it's fair to say that this, when we're talking about the election, the impending election, we're a very, very divided country.
Mm-hmm.
So when you pick a side, and you're going to become vocal about whatever side you're going to become on, you've now just eliminated half of your potential buyer and seller pool, right? Just to get something off your chest that nobody cares about, and you're not going to change anybody's mind, to Nick's point.
Right.
I mean, know your demographic. I mean, if that's the place that you want to be, and that's you don't care about alienating people, that's fine. It's your life. We're not going to tell you what you can or cannot post. Michael,
well, sure we are. We're going to tell you can't post stuff that's attacking one of our protected classes.
Well, you can, but you have to own it, and you're going to have to accept responsibility for it. That's what the big thing is here. We get, like I said, screenshots come in multiple times a month for realtors that go off and they say things that could be just construed possibly as negativity. Just because you're typing it and you don't think it's negative, you have to remember there's lots and lots of people on social media. Millions and millions of people are looking at every single post. You have very powerful fingers, because what you post will be seen by millions of people, literally. Make sure that what you're posting is not going to be construed as negative by any of those people. So, Michael, I had a question, though, and I don't know how far this goes. We had this conversation at one of the offices. So I have the protected classes, and that's I guess so. My question is, if I say something that could be perceived as negative against a protected class or discrimination,
right? That's the key word, is discrimination,
and that's what it's going to be. So, could I be possibly in trouble when it comes to fair housing?
It depends if you're involved with a purchase or a lease. So that's one thing I'd like to talk about. Is we've had property managers ask the tenant, well, how many kids do you have? Do you have any kids that are under 5 years old? I mean, asking those questions is technically violating fair housing. So we've got different issues here where it's fair housing has to do with the buyer buying a property.
Okay.
All right. Or conversations where we're talking about free speech. It's a little bit different. So you do have a right to have free speech, but you also have a right to get in trouble for what you say, right? So that's what we're really talking about here. Now, going down the fair housing side, that's kind of a different story, but how you're dealing with that client, where we had one instance where it was a rental property. It was an outside company, not West USA, but the landlord and the agent was denying the tenant to rent the property because they had children under 5 years of age. Well, that's a clear violation right there, because that's what we're talking about. Age up there is because they didn't want to put up a pool fence around the house. The landlord didn't, but the agent clearly didn't understand that was violating fair housing. So again, that's a different aspect than what we're talking about in free speech, but it's all works together, right?
Yeah.
Is that we can't discriminate. And then as realtors, we have two added on it other than the public.
Okay. All right. We're going to do a couple of announcements, and we're going to bring Hoff back for a little broker corner. Keith Flynn, our digital marketing director, is finishing up his 3-week series on Facebook for real estate professionals. Just so that everybody knows, I am pretty much Keith's tutor on this and his mentor. So I have taught him pretty much everything he knows about social medias and Facebook. So this should be a really good class because of that. But anyways, it is this Thursday, August 22nd, up here at the corporate office, but we're going to dig even deeper into Facebook ads, measuring your Facebook ads, video ads, and groups. We've talked a lot about groups and the benefits of having groups. So if you did attend the other two, you can attend this one, and we got the email address up there right there, and you can get RSVP'd for that. So that is this Thursday. Speaking of closed Facebook groups, I believe in the power of closed Facebook groups. A great tool to generate leads. We're always looking for new and different ways to generate leads. I believe that in creating a closed Facebook group is one of those. Not a lot of agents are doing it, and we're going to take you step by step how we built the America's Burger Club page up to over 1,600 members now, and how we've used it as a recruiting tool. We've actually had agents attend these our outings and become West USA agents. And imagine if you could create a group that large and you're getting buyers and sellers from it. So I'm going to take you step by step. It's going to be up at American Title this Wednesday, and you could just email Deidre Christic. There's her email address right there. And then lastly, Tony Rao, our North Phoenix branch manager, is going to have none other than Scott Drucker here for her office meeting next Wednesday, August 28th at 10 o'clock. It does not matter what office you are from, but you will get incredible insight and incredible information as far as being an agent and keeping you out of trouble. All right, just when we thought we had enough, let's bring them back. All right, Hoff, what do you got?
Well, I mean, you wanted me to talk about the First Amendment, what we were talking about already. So I'll go in a little bit more detail on it when it comes to what is free speech. And when you think about free speech, also known as freedom of speech and expression. So remember, it's just not only freedom of speech, but it's freedom of expression in the United States. Free speech is defined as a fundamental right to express one's opinions, ideas, and information free from government censorship. And that's why that was out, is from government censorship. But then now we're not, in the Code of Ethics, we don't get censorship from them on what we can and cannot say. But it does say that if you do it, you can get Code of Ethics violation on that. And the articles that really apply to this, so if you don't have a copy of a Code of Ethics, I would highly suggest you get a copy, carry it around with you, look at it from time to time, because I'll just cover briefly on the Code of Ethics. It has sections in there that really teach you and give you directions of how to do your business every day. So the first one is duties to clients and customers. This is all your duties. So it goes from Article 1 all the way over to, let's see, we've got Article 9. So all those articles right there is the duties you have to your customers. How do I deal with clients and customers? The difference between the two, right? Either people that I'm working with or people that are just out there looking for properties. The second section is duties to the public, which are going to be customers in a way, but these are just the members of the public out there that we're dealing with. And that goes from Article 10 to Article 14. And then the last one, which is duty to realtors, is from Article 15 to Article 17. So that gives you an idea of those three sections of how I deal with it. The duties to the public, which is Article 10, realtors shall not deny equal professional services to any persons for reasons of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, and then they add the two in there, sexual orientation or gender identity. That means you can't say I'm not working with that type of person or whatever. That's a violation right there, right? And that's also, not only is it a Code of Ethics violation, it is a fair housing violation out there. I mean, remember that cake instance where they didn't want to make a
they want to make a
marriage
cake for a gay couple.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
So that we've already agreed to that by joining the NAR, right? Just like your driver's license, you get your driver's license. It's not a right to drive. You're agreeing to get that driver's license. And if you get pulled over, you're agreeing to do a few things. If the cop asks you to do a breathalyzer or blood test or whatever, you agree to do that by getting a license, right? So the same thing, getting your real estate license is separate than the Code of Ethics. Do you have to subscribe to the Code of Ethics if you have a real estate license? No, but you can't join NAR without agreeing to the Code of Ethics. And that's why with our brokerage, we want everyone to be part of NAR.
What percentage of real estate agents who are active real estate agents you think have read the Code of Ethics? And I know I'm just throwing you on the spot here.
Right. I mean, I think all of them have been through classes. So 100% has been through a Code of Ethics class.
Right.
Guaranteed, because they got to take it on a regular basis. But do they really go through and look at the SOPs, which is the standard of practice, which is down the road, right? So if you read, let's say, Article 10, I mean, there are many SOPs underneath it, 1, 2, 3, 4, that talk about that article. So that's why, a few things that you should really understand in real estate at first is the contract. Be able to read the contract inside and out, know your days, know your timelines, know the critical dates and what have you. And then the second should be understanding your code of ethics, because that's how we deal with everyone in our business. How we talk to them, how we deal with the customer, the other agent. There's times in there I get people call me all the time, say, I made an offer on a property, and yes, they confirmed that they received it, but the realtor's not calling me back. They're not talking to me. That's a code of ethics violation. Well, really, it's not. Because if you look at Article 3, it says right in Article 3 that I don't have to talk to or respond to you if it's not in the best interest of my client. Now, we really believe in good communication, don't get me wrong, but this article right here is letting everybody know that, I might have other offers out there that I'm working with, and your offer is not as good. Do I need to respond?
If your offer is really good, I'd be in touch with you.
And that's what I said. I always ask them every time. So was your offer a good offer or a low offer? Well, it was a low offer. Well, no wonder they're not calling you back.
It's like this whole
make
thing,
a better offer.
Like the whole thing, people go, well, I keep praying for this, and God's not answering my prayers. Well, maybe he did answer your prayer. He said no.
Exactly. Unanswered prayers are an answer. It's no different than when you send a contract over and you have the acceptance date and they don't respond, and then you're mad because they didn't respond. Well, if they didn't respond, that is a response.
It's no.
They responded that they don't like it and they rejected it. That is a rejection. So I still get agents called that are, upset over not getting a response, right? Or they're not getting their spuds, they're not getting their clue report or whatever. We'll send a cure notice over. There are proper ways to handle contracts or issues or non-responses or whatever. So let's move along a little bit to another code of ethics when it comes to free speech, right? Article 15. So Article 15 comes up quite often. And that's an article that states that realtors shall not knowingly or recklessly make false or misleading statements about other realtors' professional, their businesses, or their business practices. This happens all the time.
Oh, man, these real estate forums can we start talking about those? Man.
I mean, you look at that. I'm on the forum, but I comment zero.
Yeah.
I don't like anything. I see that stuff on there. Actually, I haven't looked at it in a long time, because the minute I start looking, within 30 seconds, I'm cringing all the time because.
Oh, had you been on it, you would have noticed some of the comments they made about you.
Yeah.
So.
Anybody makes a comment about me, it comes to me really quick, right? Google search has a Google keyword search. Yeah. So it all comes up. See, that's the thing, is that you can go into Google and isn't it called Google keyword search? Or
yeah,
you could put in names, you could put all good stuff, and it comes up anywhere. I get an email sent to me. I get notification of stuff that comes up. So it's out there. People are searching for it. It's easy to spider sites or whatever they do to get that information. It's out there. But Article 15 comes up a lot. I mean, even if we had one agent that got in trouble because they said, oh yeah, that agent doesn't know what they're doing. They've never worked in that area before, and you shouldn't list with them. Well, it turned out that agent was in the business for a long time, and they live in the area, and they've sold many homes in that area. So you got to be careful. I got another agent that got in trouble because they were, going against each other for a listing, and they were, talking about what they can do, what they cannot do, and then the client said, well, I'm talking to this other agent. And that agent says, oh, well, they're new and they don't really know what they're doing. They're kind of inexperienced, and you probably shouldn't use them, and I know what I'm doing. That's a problem too, because we don't know that other agent, even though, let's say they're in the business for a short period of time, we don't know what experience they've had in real estate. So that was a code of ethics violation there. So, little things that we say and that we do. If we're at a listing presentation, talk about what you can do, what you have to offer. Try not to say, oh yeah, that agent doesn't know what they're talking about, the other people that you're interviewing. So try to stay away from that trap of doing that.
Yeah, and also on these forums, a lot of times they're describing situations, this agent did this, can you believe this agent did this? And they're not necessarily calling that agent out by name per se, or calling out the brokerage. Any danger in that?
There is danger. I mean, if there's perception in there that we can figure out who the person is, then yeah, you've got liability there. If you have, the forum is definitely not a place to go for vent or to talk about issues. I mean, if you have questions, I mean, I know our brokers are really easy to get a hold of all the time. Just call in and talk to us. I mean, if you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, different story, you want to vent and go on there. But I can tell you 90% of the information I've seen that comes back from the forums is wrong. I mean, it's just blatantly, it's just completely wrong. Our brokers will search hard to find out the correct answer for you. If we don't know it, then we will find it. Most of them know it pretty well, but they'll diligently work to get you the answer that you need.
And then for other people on the forum, I'm really hung up on these forums. They just drive me nuts. Okay, so people will say they'll gripe about an agent, but won't call them out by name. But if you want to know who it is, private message me. Well, that's no better.
Yeah, that's no better.
Now through private messaging, now you're actually specifically calling out agents by name. And if it gets back,
yeah, I mean, if anybody finds out and they want to file a complaint, I mean, that's the thing about code of ethics violations is that it's not that hard to prove or figure out what you're talking about because you're still going down that road. And that's the idea, is that we're saying that we're not going to go down that road. Yeah, we have problems and issues with every transaction. And I tell everybody, I mean, every transaction you have is going to be difficult. And I see a lot of problems with realtors against each other is that I have my own work ethics. I have a certain way that I do things. And then I try to impose that on another agent in the transaction. You can't do that. They're going to work different. Let them work the way that they want to work. And just because they don't call you back within 2 hours and you make all your calls within 2 hours doesn't mean they're less of an agent in that scenario. And every transaction, I mean, nobody's perfect. They're not going to get stuff to you on time. They might not call you back quickly, but are they really violating the code of ethics? Typically, no. But easily, if you get frustrated and get upset and get yourself personally involved, you can easily violate code of ethics sometimes by trying to attack. And that's usually where agents get in trouble.
All right, what else you got? Anything else?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right.
You guys are good?
All right, appreciate it, Hoff. As always, great information. And just be careful on these forums. It's not a place to vent and attack other. And what I always find really the irony in all of it is a lot of these people who are on these forums and attacking other agents forget that they were new ones. Right. I remember my first contract. What a nightmare that was.
Well, even if you get a contract that's horribly written, I get complaints about that all the time. And like, at least you got an offer. At least an offer came in. Just work with it and move on.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it, Hoff. As always. Google the word Hoff. See what pops up. All right, Bob. Good morning. Welcome, and help us stay out of trouble this morning.
Good morning already. My goodness. Well, we'll see what we can do to keep you out of trouble. Some of the things that come up. We checked out one last week, and I got actually the agent himself doesn't think it's right. So he called another broker and found out, and it's probably right. So anyway, eliminating the permission part of the contract. Remember we talked about that last week? Permission. Well, you can strike that out, but it's not going to go anywhere because now you've messed around with something else in there. I think it's on line 21 that you've already agreed to, that it's going to be recorded. And if it's recorded, the permission is given. Well, it's taken by the state. If it gets recorded, the Maricopa County is going to record it so that the public is informed of that. So we went through a couple of things there just to clarify it for everybody, and you'll see what that means as you go. Read the contract. It's right in there. And I got that from Legal Hotline also. Some guy named Paul. Have you talked to Paul before? I'm sure you have.
I have not.
Maybe he's a new guy down there. I hadn't talked to him before. And another one here. Somebody called in and wanted to know if, well, he sent the Binzer out. And how does he know the Binzer has been presented to the seller? Well, I don't know. They all get presented, I guess, but how do you know that it is? If you call the broker over there, maybe the broker will check on it to see that it was presented, but I've never thought about that before. What if it isn't presented? And the other agent messes up somebody's deal by not taking care of these things. He's going to be in possible trouble there. So I don't know how you know, except if you talk to the broker on the other side. And in this case, we got 2,500 people around here. I don't know. We don't watch those things unless a complaint comes in on them. One of the other things that went through, and I was questioning a little bit, the inspection notice and seller's response here, I got one in, and that is known as a Binzer. We have here a camera scope inspection. That's where they get in there and take pictures of the sewer. That's very interesting. If you ever seen one of those, it's odd. But you should see one so you know what's going on inside the sewers. And I was thinking just old sewers is the ones to look into. Well, one of the guys from Roto-Rooter told me one time, no, new homes got these funny problems too, because now the code is they can have a smaller sewer line. Yeah, that might be a problem in some cases. So in any event, it's a good practice to do that. But the Binzer came through and they wanted these things done, install a clean out, repair the master bath, do some other things here. And the seller's response, he says he agrees to do number 3 and 4, does not agree to the rest of the stuff. So they go ahead and they get to the point of closing. And it's time for closing, and the other guy is questioning this, thinking he ought to back out, the buyer. So this is kind of a strange thing. So our guy says, oh, wait a minute, I'll have another sewer inspection done. So he does so. And it's the same result as the first one, really. It's stuff that you wonder what you've got there in a way. So he did that. And now we've got an issue that now that it has closed, the other broker is saying because we did this sewer inspection, his guy bought the place and now he's having problems. And that's our fault. Well, I don't think so. We don't have anything to do with the sewer, but we did pay for a sewer inspection, which I don't want you guys and gals doing that out there. Call the broker on it first, and we'll take it from there.
So you're saying on this instant, the listing agent paid for the inspection?
Yes.
Or the buyer agent? The listing agent did?
The listing agent paid for the inspection, and there it is right there. You can see it. There's $415 he pulled out of his own pocket to pay for this. I guess he wanted the deal to close. We all do. But don't go so far as to do this, because now you've stepped out too far. You need the broker help on something like that, and we'll take another look at it and interview the other broker and see what's going on here to know for sure where we're at.
Yeah, because if you start purchasing, ordering, or getting vendors out there and you're paying for it, you take all the responsibility for the bad work they do on top of any of the good work. So remember, be source of the source, not the source.
So they sort of say, well, is this a friend of the agent, you know? And that's what's coming up from the other guy who used to be a broker here, and I've known him for many years. I don't know where this whole thing is going, but I think I've conveyed this to our agent, and now they're working on trying to get this paid for somehow. He said it's $10,000 to fix this sewer. And I think that's pretty heavy, but they did work it down to where it's probably $6,000. And now they're starting to talk about the cost and kind of splitting it up a little bit with our guy and their guy, and everybody will chip in there and make this thing work. because you're going to have to dig it up.
No, since you're here, Hoff, let me ask you a question about that. Okay, so I once got myself in a little trouble. I got served because I had ordered a company to come paint a house for an investor. The investor never paid the painter. I ordered it.
Right.
So therefore, I ended up having to pay for it. So
Correct.
we as agents, we're oftentimes ordering the home inspection. So if we're ordering the home inspection and let's say the home inspector misses something, are we liable, or should we be having the client themselves order the home inspection?
I always say have the client order the home inspection. You could set it up.
Absolutely.
Again, source of the source, but you can call the home inspector and say, hey, we got a home inspection coming up. Here's the buyer's information. Please give them a call and get it all set up and let them set that up. That's going to be hugely beneficial, especially if you use the same inspector on a regular basis.
I think next week during the entire webinar, we'll just talk about all the times that I got served as an agent and sheriff's department showing up at my front door, and that'd be entertaining.
Yeah.
We could go on tour together.
Well, I'm concerned about you going back into the sales force now.
You should be.
You're still the broker here, Michael. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Here's one that come up, procuring cause issue. You'll like this, and I think we got it squared away, Michael.
Good.
One of our gals got a call from somebody and to show the house. She's a listing agent, and here comes the other agent that got the original call way back when and worked with these people from above. I guess it's a Zillow thing or something. I'm not sure. But both agents show up to show the same client the house. One is a listing agent and one is from another company. Well, the buyers say, well, we want our agent, to write it up. So she did. Now the other agent comes forth and says, oh, wait a minute here. I am the procuring cause here. I made all this happen. I got the lead and I called the people and told them what the address was. I did all this work. I'm the procuring cause. Well, we don't know until we do a complete investigation on it. And she says, what I want is 20% of this deal. And I talked to my gal there and I said, that don't sound like a bad deal there. Why don't we write that up and give her 20%? Nobody has any problems. We've got a form for that, the A130 procuring cause issue, and we can settle it all right now. Both brokers sign off on the thing and it's done. Or after closing, we're going to hold your money so that the other gal can chase this money. She may want all of it, but right now she only wants 20%. What do you think? She says, oh, hell yes, we'll do that. We'll do that one, yeah. So that was really nice to be able to get rid of it. I hope we got rid of it. I haven't heard from her since then. That was last Wednesday when the thing worked out. Here's one that wanted to donate some money to she wanted to donate some money to the buyer. So she says, what do I do? And I found out, well, she's a listing agent. Oh, well, it's the other agent that wants to get the money donated, but she wants to get it out of her funds, not our funds. I said, well, she's got to call her broker and get that issue settled with her broker if it's okay, because it's not your money. So we have to make sure this goes the right way. So tell her what to do. Get a form. I said, we do have a form over here, but I'm sure they can write their own form, their broker, and get this allocated to a buyer. And it's kind of heavy, $3,000, 3 large to give to a buyer. So that was pretty good. Somebody wanted to cancel the contract. One of our ladies. So she wrote one last night. She wants to cancel it already this morning. The buyer does. So what does he do? Well, I got this twice. the past few days, 2 times from 2 different people. Well, you can cancel it with a Binzer. You have to have them note that it's on the Binzer. They don't want this house, and what is the reason? In this case, the kitchen was too small. So that was a personal inspection. One gal thought, well, we haven't had an inspection yet. Well, yes, you have. Your buyer's making an inspection. They've gone in. They've decided the kitchen's too small. So get that Binzer and put the reason in there. If you don't put the reason in there, you've got an issue then later on. So you got to take care of that. What else we got? Oh, I know. I turned all this work over to the new broker on duty because I was off duty and I can't get any calls anymore. So I will have to follow up with that one. And then we're talking about, what do you sell? I come across this and I wonder what people really sell out there, and what do they sell? Do they sell houses or real estate? Not really. They sell communication. That's what you got going for you. And when we try to communicate with people, calling them back, many times we get a message that says, text me for faster response, and I'll call you by the end of the day. That's not a good response. You've got somebody here that's interested in something. I don't know what it is they're interested in, but whatever it is, you need to respond real quickly, and don't make them think that they're waiting, because there's 50,000 other agents out there that'll take that call and turn it into something. I can recall Clay Fouts went into a Circle K one time and bought some stuff. This is a story he's told many times, and he threw his card down on the counter. The guy grabbed the card and he says, "Oh, I bought a house from you guys." And Clay says, "Oh, great. Who is the agent?" Well, he didn't know. That was 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, this agent has not followed up with this person. Maybe he's ready to buy another one. Maybe he's like me. I buy them every 2-3 years.
Do you remember your agent's name?
So I'll tell you, this buying houses is crazy when you start to move. That's what we're doing. As a matter of fact, I got to get home here pretty quick because we're having a pool table moved today. How about that?
How many times have you moved that pool table?
Every time I buy a house.
Okay, we leave you with a quote of the day. Huge shout out. Thanks, Hoff, for stopping by. Bob, thank you. Leave you with a quote of the day from Vince Lombardi. The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. Go out and sell a home.